Love-inspired suspense and HarperAudio present Chasing Justice by Valerie Hansen, performed by Rachael Warren Allen. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Galatians 6:9. To my family, both genetic and spiritual, chosen for such a time as this. Chapter 1. Idaho. Home. Mountain Country Canine Task Force member Selena Smith gripped the steering wheel, took a deep breath, and sighed. The blessing of coming home to Sagebrush and seeing the snowy peaks of the ski resorts was tinged with a sense of melancholy. It was here she had grown up, become a sheriff's deputy, learned to partner with her Malinois canine, Scout, and built a good life. It was also here that she had fallen in love with the man who broke her heart, had lost her only sister to the aftermath of drug abuse, and had buried both their parents. And now, here she was escorting the van that held the very man she'd loved, Finn Donovan, from a court appearance. His legal team was officially requesting a retrial, and then he'd go back to prison, where he was serving a sentence for murder. A gray sky mirrored her mood as she followed the van in her MC-K9 SUV. She'd done her best to avoid this assignment, yet unforeseen circumstances had conspired against her. So had her former boss.
"I'm sorry," Sheriff Unger had told her that morning. "I wouldn't ask if we weren't so short-handed. There were bomb threats at all 3 Barton County ski resorts, and I had to split my force. I don't have anybody else to drive escort."
He'd explained that it wouldn't take more than a couple hours, which suited Selena because she wasn't back in Idaho to work her old job. She was here to find a missing canine and to catch a serial killer. The Rocky Mountain Killer had shot 3 young men in Elk Valley, Wyoming, 10 years ago on Valentine's Day. And a couple months ago, also on Valentine's Day, he'd murdered 2 more. All the victims were former members of the Elk Valley Young Ranchers Club. All had been shot at close range in a barn, and slugs with the same markings were found at the crime scenes, tying the deaths together. The killer was back, and Selena intended to find him, with help from other members of the Mountain Country Canine Task Force, which included law enforcement officers from across Rocky Mountain states.
"I spoke with the FBI agent in charge of your team, Chase Ralston. He gave permission," her old boss had explained earlier. "You already interviewed the witness who spotted the missing dog, so you have nothing pressing, right?"
Her heart had twinged at the mention of the missing dog, a labradoodle named Cowgirl. She'd been gifted to the task force as a compassion canine, but had since been stolen. It was a sighting of the missing pup that had brought Selena back to Sagebrush. A witness had seen the dog, who had a telltale dark splotch on her ear, and Selena had been sent to her hometown to investigate. Cowgirl had been dognapped from Elk Valley, Wyoming, but had been seen in Idaho. That was a long way. Maybe another labradoodle had the same splotch, but the description was a perfect match. All that should have been enough to put her off the sheriff's latest request. But the biggest shock came when Selena had scanned the form and had frozen on the name of the prisoner being transported. She'd paled. Her hand trembled slightly in spite of her training and expertise. The convict she was escorting was her ex, Finn Donovan. Despite her best efforts to get out of the assignment, even explaining the conflict of interest, Sheriff Unger wouldn't budge. He'd handed the orders at her again, saying again that they were short-staffed and there was no one else. And that's how she'd ended up where she was now, driving along a winding mountain road behind a white prison transport van containing the former love of her life. Icy rain began to fall. Perfect, Selena thought. The weather was matching her mood swing, from sunny spring to dark and cold and miserable, in a matter of a few hours. It had been tempting.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?